I'm Tara Monster, and I like to make things. Today we're going to talk about dun dun da, paying your taxes. When I tell people I'm a small business owner, one of the first things they ask me is, how do you pay your taxes? This can be intimidating to a lot of people. In fact, I was so intimidated by it that I paid an accountant to do it for me, which was great, but also very expensive. Nowadays, they have tax softwares that make paying your taxes so much easier. And that's what I want to show you today. So without further ado, let's get into how I pay my taxes. Today, I'm going to be paying my state sales tax for the first quarter of 2020. This is just my personal process for paying taxes and not considered legal tax advice. Once you start taking your business seriously and have made enough sales to get a 1099 at the end of the year, I recommend consulting a CPA or tax expert, especially to help you with your federal taxes. For my 2019 year-end taxes, I went to H&R Block and met with a small business specialist. It cost around $400 for them to find all of my deductions and take care of filing for me. It was definitely worth the price. Anyway, now back to our state sales tax. I pay tax on all the transactions I have at craft shows and festivals, as well as my online sales in the state that I have nexus. TaxJar will help you figure out which state you have nexus in. It's usually the state where you are located. For me, that's Washington, or any other state that you have over 100,000 in sales or 200 transactions per year. So clicking on Washington, they give me all the information that I need to know. This tells me my nexus requirements, how to pay, and more info. You can go to this resource anytime you need to. Here on my TaxJar dashboard, they give me my estimated sales tax collected. I used to pay my accountant to file my sales tax for me, which cost me around $200 a quarter, and I still had to enter all the info into QuickBooks myself, which took a long time. Now that I use TaxJar, it only costs me $20 a month, and I don't have to enter anything. In fact, they show all of my transactions right here. You can see that everything from my Shopify sales and my Etsy sales are recorded here. And since Etsy collects and pays my sales tax for me, that's why it says marketplace here under exemption. That means that they are not calculating taxes for my Etsy sales, but they are calculating them for all of my Shopify sales. It's likely when you first start out that you'll only have to pay tax yearly, but since I used to have a retail store that made around $500,000 per year, I am on quarterly filing. And that means that I need to pay my taxes 4 times a year. Usually for quarterly, it's the first 3 months and then it's due on the following month. For example, this would be for January through March and then due at the end of April. However, due to COVID, the first quarter deadline for Washington State has been extended to June 30th. TaxJar says July 31st here, since that's when quarter 2 is due. It thinks the quarter 1 deadline has passed, since it's usually the end of April. To get more info about my tax, I click on Sales Tax Report. My gross sales is here. Marketplace sales from Etsy is right here. And the reason why deductions and exemptions is here is because this is my wholesale sales that was collected in Shopify. And that will tell you that right here. Since some of my wholesale sales are collected through my website through Shopify, but I also have wholesale sales that I invoice stores for, I cannot have TaxJar file automatically for me. However, if you only have sales through your website or Etsy or anything online and no additional outside sales, you can have TaxJar file your taxes for you. And that's really easy. But I'm going to show you how I add my extra wholesale sales. It's really easy as well. So I go over to my Department of Revenue's website. Your state will have one that looks very similar to this. You just log in and you can file your taxes online for free. I want to file taxes for all of these things, so I click Next. The first part is the business and occupation tax. And this is where I put the numbers from TaxJar for my retail sales. The total retail sales subject to tax is this amount here. But I also need to add in the amount from Etsy Marketplace for the total, and then I take this as a deduction later. So I add this amount to this amount, and I get $892.85. So I put that in here for retail sales. And now it's time to calculate my wholesale sales. I do my wholesale invoicing through an app called Wave. It's just like QuickBooks, except it's free. I highly recommend you check it out. I'll put the link below in the description. So what I do here is I just take the amounts for all of my wholesale sales, I put them into an Excel spreadsheet, and I add them up. As you can see, in the beginning of the year, I had a lot of wholesale sales, but then as soon as COVID hit and my stores closed, they pretty much stopped altogether. So I'm just going to take those numbers and put them into Excel and add them up. I took the numbers from Wave, and I also included the wholesale sales that were in TaxJar so that I could total them together. They are all in here. And this is the total. So I copy that and I put that into the Department of Revenue website. And they automatically calculate how much tax I need to pay based on my sales. And now we want to add the deduction for the Etsy sales. I put it in right here. So you just click on deduction, and what you want to select is retail sales collected by facilitator. Etsy, Amazon, eBay, anyone that collects and pays your sales tax for you is known as a facilitator. You just put in the amount. And again, I got this from TaxJar, from right here. Put in the amount that they paid for Washington State. Click OK. And now these amounts match TaxJar exactly. This is the taxable amount. This is how much tax I need to pay on that. And now we are at the summary. My total wholesaling amount is this. And again, that's my wholesale sales from Shopify combined with my wholesale sales that I put in Wave that I invoice stores for. This is my total amount of retail sales. And then this is where the Etsy deduction is added. So this is the total amount that I am paying tax on. And they give you all the totals down here. And this is the total amount of tax that I will have to pay for Q1. And that's really all there is to it. You can choose to have the payment taken from your bank account or put it on a credit card. I hope you enjoyed today's video on how I pay my retail sales tax. If you have any questions that I didn't address in the video, please put them in the comments below. I always read the comments and I'd love to help you out. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get a new video every day. And before we go, I just want to show off my shirt. This is one of my own original illustrations. If you want to see the rest of my cool shirts that I make, there is a link down below in the description. So check out Revival Ink shirts. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow.